Hello, everyone. This is Uday Chakravarti. I'm the co-founder of Clinch AGI. We're building an AI native platform to empower sales teams to close deals faster using the power of Agentic AI. Today, I'm excited to talk to Stefan Burak. Stefan, I would love to start off with an intro here.
Yep, thanks, Uday. Yeah, my name is Stefan Burak. I have about 25 plus years sales and sales leadership experience across a number of technologies, but it's all been primarily focused on B2B SaaS sales. And currently, I am working as an advisor to Clinch and a few other organizations, and looking forward to having this conversation today.
Awesome. Thanks for the intro. And yeah, I would love to kickstart with, what is the hottest topic right now in go-to-market, AI in GDM. We've seen a lot of companies have come up in the space recently that are doing AI prospecting, AI SDRs, and we've seen a bunch of companies as well. And those are some of the I want to say use cases that AI can do quite well in terms of generating content. Although how effective those are is still there's a long way to go because of the generic content that it creates. I would love to learn your thoughts on, going a step further in the pipeline, the mid pipeline to sort of closing the deal. What are you seeing in AI in that space? Maybe the AE workflows, and what are you hearing from the market, and where do you see opportunities with AI?
So I think it's a huge opportunity for AI to help salespeople, especially in deals that are in mid sales cycle. Because at that point in the sales cycle, you need to start prioritizing deals that you think you can win, and that's where AI can come in. There's so many different areas that it can impact. So, for example, deal health, um, using AI to track the engagement of the customer or the prospect, meeting participation response, using that to gather insights to help the sales rep prioritize where they are in the deal. That's just one piece of it. But there's a lot more that can be done. One other area that I think AI makes a huge impact on is automating some of the workflows that a typical AE doesn't necessarily want to do, but they need to do from a CRM perspective. So, for example, if you're using a methodology like MEDPIC, ensuring that all the aspects of MEDPIC are complete or complete to the stage they should be complete within the context of the sales cycle. Those are just a couple examples.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think those are some great examples. Yeah, yeah, I would love to dig deeper a little on the MedPick example that you gave. That's one of the frameworks that I have seen used quite a lot. Like, are there other frameworks, and what would that use case look like for AI to really come in and make sure, what would success look like for AI in such frameworks?
Sure. So typically, a framework like MEDPIC, or there's Spiced by Winning by Design. Typically, they're all frameworks that are designed to coach a sales rep to capture key components of a sale. So, in MEDPIC, it's the metrics, it's the economic decision makers, the decision process, and so forth. Um, Current CRM systems,
Mm-hmm.
you can hold a field for that sales rep to complete whether or not they've captured that information. But if you think of it from a salesperson perspective, it looks like just another piece of data entry that they have to do in order to please their sales leader or sales manager. But the reality is, we do know that MEDPIC and Spiced and those methodologies do have a big impact. And if AI can help the sales rep capture some of those components and automate the workflow of tracking that data and putting it in the CRM system, it takes away kind of a manual task, and it definitely helps that sales rep work on more deals and be more effective and prioritize the right deals and also know where the blind spots are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that that makes a lot of sense. And AI is good at extracting context from transcripts, so it can take a framework and then actually tell you how close a rep is following that framework, and maybe it can give you a scoring, high, medium, low, or a scale of 0 to 100, and that could be really useful for sales leaders because they now, instead of them trying to analyze bunch of these calls on Gong, etc., automatically the AI is able to tell them which reps are following, those frameworks, which are not. And to take it one step further, we also have win rates. So you can actually correlate some of this with win rates, on how effective, they are in terms of like following these frameworks.
Yeah, having it to me, it's not just automating the data entry process, but also optimizing the deal prioritization itself, and understanding the health of the deal, and yeah, to your point, adding in a health score. So if it's green and good, and you've got a score of, say, for example, 80 or above, probably not that much to dig into. But if it's
Yeah.
in the yellow or red zone, there's an area where you need to think about, what level of effort should I put into this deal? Am I getting the right interaction with a client? Do I need to actually kick this one to the curb and move on to the next one, and realize that maybe it's not the right time for that opportunity?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think one of the things AI is also really good at is flagging these things like that you talked about, and um, imagine having all the data in one place. AI is as good as the data that powers it. So having all the CRM data, having all the conversations, email activity, AI can tell you whether a deal is active or not, whether there's been a follow-up or not. For example, is a deal stalled or not? And imagine that notification itself to a rep, or let's say to a sales manager, saying, hey, by the way, this is a high priority deal. There's no activity for a week. Itself can really help, move the deal faster.
Totally agree with that. And in the past, you had to take a RevOps person or someone with some significant technical knowledge to build a set of reports across a CRM, across your call recording system, across other parts of your tech stack. And AI used effectively can solve for that in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or
Uh,
minutes, just to be honest.
yeah, yeah. Digging a little bit deeper into the sales coaching part, from a rep perspective as well. Obviously, there's a lot of um, I want to say benefits for a sales manager in terms of coaching their team, but just for a rep perspective, a rep just got off a call, and AI is able to instantly give feedback. One is like, yes, are you following framework? But there could be a lot more insights to that rep as well. Any thoughts on what else can help a rep just right after a call has ended?
Oh, absolutely. Not only can it tell you the points, if the AI understands your sales process, which you can train the AI to do, um, that can give instantaneous feedback to the rep of points that they may have missed.
Uh-huh.
Second, it can also really shorten the follow-up component of it and make sure that they're hitting the right points in following up and not missing any steps.
Yeah.
Then also guiding, next best actions. So if they did X, Y, or Z, you should do A, B, C as
Yeah.
a follow up. So it definitely will take some of the heat off of a sales manager who historically has had to listen to a bunch of calls and give that feedback
Mm.
post. Uh, certainly longer than the instantaneous feedback, and that's not as helpful to a rep. But actually guiding them to the next best step, that would be my perspective on helping a rep be more effective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that makes sense. And in terms of the impact of AI and ROI for some of these workflows, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on both like short-term ROI as well as longer-term ROI. Like for example, sales coaching is something that you may not see the impact right away because AI is coaching, reps keep getting better, they start closing deals, maybe the sales cycles go down. You might see the impact in longer term. But I'm curious, are there any things that AI could do in the short term as well to show the ROI to teams?
Yeah, I mean, I just mentioned one example, which would be the follow-up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you have a meeting, you want to make sure you hit all the stakeholders with the appropriate follow-up and suggest the next actions. AI can do a really good job of reading that call transcript and suggesting those next actions, especially when it's been trained on your sales process. So that
Mm-hmm.
to me is like the really low hanging fruit from an AI perspective. Same thing with suggesting progression on deal stages and things like that to make it easier for the rep to focus on the right deal. If the AI monitors the health of the deal, it can easily help the rep progress the deal to the right stage, which is going to give them a more accurate pipeline, better forecasting. That's a big win for a sales leader.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of these could be sort of like a trigger-based notifications from AI. The other could be just helping reps prioritize their day. Imagine coming into your work and having an AI that says, "Hey, these are the top 5 priorities for you." Maybe there's a deal that has had no activity, but it's a high priority deal with a close date coming up. Those things might be missed, but it's in some ways helping you plan and prioritize your day so that you can be more effective.
Yeah, I could only wish I had that when I first started out in sales because giving you the top things to work on today to help prioritize what you're going to do to be more effective. And as every salesperson, it's just about winning business, period.
Yeah, absolutely. One more thing I would love to hear your thoughts on is the AI tool proliferation. There are so many different tools that have come up, and there are a lot of point solutions that are trying to do one thing really well. But I'm curious to hear about rep productivity, and there's data that suggests a lot of time is spent just in updating CRM, keeping it up to date, swapping between multiple tools. What has your experience been with that, and where do you see opportunities with AI there?
It's a good point because there is so much proliferation of tools, and it's really hard to know which tool to use, which is why I think Clinch is really on to something in the fact that it's looking at agentic AI. You can't go to every single vendor that has a point solution, for example, an AI SDR, an AI AE, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The agentic approach, where you can combine a number of different kind of line of business challenges you're trying to solve for. For example, the AI SDR, which you mentioned earlier in the call, and combining that with other agents like the pipeline health we were mentioning, or the data component that we were mentioning, or the prioritization. So all those combined into one make it a lot easier for a rep to be able to work in that environment versus having to go out to several different solutions and try to figure out what to do with each single solution.
Yeah, I think that's a great point you make. Just the time spent, different data sources, disconnected experiences, and yeah, it just can be a productivity killer for sure. Yeah, and a lot of things happening in the space. It's moving really fast, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on some predictions. This is where we ask you, what are your top 3 predictions for the end of the year? December 31st, 2025. What are you expecting from AI, and what might surprise you?
Well, I wish I could predict the future completely, but my some of my guesses would be that agentic AI does really take off. People will stop using kind of line of business point solutions in favor of a more cohesive approach. Um, that already have a significant amount of prompts already built into the solution versus what's happening today where a lot of people are building their own prompts themselves. So I think that would be one prediction. I think the adoption will most likely be in the small and mid-sized businesses. Some of the larger organizations are going to take some time to really figure out what works. There's going to be some trial and error there for sure for them to learn what's going to work in a really large scale organization. I do think some of the point solutions will probably fade away as well over time, although they've definitely taken off a little bit right now. I think, again, that agentic approach is what's going to really be appealing. Most companies have been trying to rationalize and reduce their tech stack over time, and the proliferation of vendors and AI, I think, will perhaps slow down a little bit by the end of the year.
That's great. Yeah, thanks for sharing the predictions. And I do think a lot of the things you mentioned, especially around more and more agentic workflows and how AI can come in and take over more repetitive tasks, all make sense. I also think we'll start seeing more and more of ROI coming out of AI tools. Like so far, a lot of it has been on the AI SDRs. The challenge with that is you don't really get to see any ROI for 3 months, and by 3 months you've already spent $20,000-$30,000 on some of these tools that we have seen. But I do think that with more time and AI going deeper into sales workflows, like sales coaching, for example, or lead prioritization, follow-ups, like those are where areas where you can see ROI. And that is where I feel like, solutions that are looking at it holistically versus more like point solutions those are the solutions that will probably be the ones and point solutions getting replaced. So I'm pretty excited about what's coming up with AI, and we can't wait to see how the year unfolds.
For sure.
Great. This is awesome talking to you, Stefan. Really appreciate you sharing your thoughts on the space for us and for our viewers. And what's the best way for folks to reach you at? Is it LinkedIn or?
LinkedIn by far the best way. And it's Stefan Burak, Stefan, last name Burak, Burak. I think there's just a few of me out there.
All right, then I'm sure folks will be able to find you easily.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Stefan. Have a great one.
All right, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye.